Radio Raheem here with Robert Garcia. You know, we're kind of on hallowed ground in the sense that this is one of Manny Pacquiao's homes. And I know you have some history there, fighting Pacquiao, being in the opposite corner. He's got a fight coming up even before your fight this week, Saturday. He's fighting Lucas Matisse. There's a lot of questions, I guess, about where Pacquiao is in his career, how he might perform. How do you see that fight shaking out?
Look, no differences with Pacquiao. He's a great fighter, great person, one of the most humblest person in boxing that I've ever met. So nothing but love and respect for him. He does have a big fight, and you know, Lucas Matisse is known for being a very, very strong, powerful fighter. But I think at the stage of their careers, both of them are looking towards the end of their careers. But I think Pacquiao's still a little bit fresher than Matisse. From what I've seen in Matisse's last fight, I think Matisse is looking for the big fight, and obviously if he wins, then he's on top of the world and he's going to look for even a bigger fight. But I think Pacquiao has the skills, the power, the speed to beat Matisse.
You know, even though I would say a lot of people, most people even, don't think that Hearn beat Pacquiao, he won on the cards. And this is the first fight since then, and it's his first fight without Freddie Roach. I know you being a trainer, you have to deal with when fighters lose, where they lay blame, and how they deal with it. When a fighter comes to a place in his career like where Pacquiao is it a wise thing to change trainers, or could this be a mistake?
Look, I would say it's probably more of a mistake. Freddie Roach has been with them for so many years, and this is the first time Pacquiao's going to step into the ring without Freddie Roach. After all the success that they had, there could be a little bit of fighting a little uncomfortable without that voice that you've had for so many years, and all those titles you guys won together. So it might affect him, but you know, at that stage of their careers, a lot of fighters make those changes towards the end of their careers, maybe just to save that extra money, keep it all for the family, and instead of giving out so much money to a trainer. I don't know. I'm not saying that's Pacquiao's case. From what I've heard, Pacquiao is very generous to everybody in his training camp. He always takes care very well of everybody that works with him. So I don't think that's the reason. I thought he won the last fight, so I don't think the trainer's to be blamed. I thought he won. Yeah, I really don't know the reasons. You know, I'm just saying what happens when other fighters make that decision.
Sometimes at this point, you think fighters start to think, I can train myself. I don't really need this guy telling me everything to do.
I've seen that happen with other fighters. I've seen it happen with fighters that I was training, and they decide to go on their own, thinking they're going to do better, and things don't go their way.
Right. Now, being an elite trainer, you can end up, like you just said, on either end of that spectrum. Right now, you've got a new guy in your camp, Jose Ramirez, who's left Freddie Roach for you. And obviously, he's not at the tail end of his career, but he felt like he needed a change that you could benefit him in ways that Freddie couldn't. What is it that you feel like you're working on, or that maybe were holes in his game that you bring to the table?
Look, with Jose, he's a world champion, and I think what he needed and what I'm doing is giving him his time. You know, I set a certain time for him. I focused those 2 hours in the gym just on him, on teaching him things. I think that's what he was lacking and what he was looking for. He's a disciplined fighter. He listens. He follows instructions, and he wanted that one voice that's in charge. And that's probably what he was lacking. You know, Freddie Roach has accomplished so much in his life. He's done so good financially that he might not have the love for the sport anymore. I have a passion for what I do. I enjoy every minute of it, and I think that's what Jose needed.
You know, your fighter Abner Mares, you have that same relationship with him. You guys just came off a big fight, an exciting fight, but didn't get the result that you had hoped for. I hadn't spoken to you since that fight ended. Where is Abner's spirit at? Where do you feel like he is mentally in the fight game now?
Look, not bad at all. You know, we've been in communication. We've been talking to each other. He comes to the gym once in a while to visit, and he's ready to go at it again. You know, he wants to fight one time before the end of the year. He didn't win the fight, but it was in a fight that you lose a lot out of it. He fought a hell of a fight. It was a close fight. Leo is a great champion, so nothing to be ashamed of. There's still a lot of big fights out there for him that could happen. So when I'm sure whenever they give him an idea when his next fight will be, he'll be back in the gym. But he's another one of those that listens and does everything that he's told, and also needed that voice that's in command, that he believes in, and that's gonna know what they're telling him.
A relationship like that couldn't be better exemplified than that you have with your brother. Obviously, you guys have a language, and even an unspoken language, that you can communicate and trust each other. That fight with Mares in Santa Cruz was billed as like the fight for LA. But it seems like Mikey's looking to step in that bit of a void and claim LA for himself. He's fighting at the Staples Center. Is that his intention? Does he look to like plant his flag here and make LA the place that is synonymous with Mikey Garcia?
Look, I think Mikey's the fighter to do it. The fighter to make LA his home, and where he should be fighting more often. Leo versus Abner was the fight for LA because they're both from LA. So Mikey's fight versus can't be named that, but it's just Mikey's just such a great fighter, very talented, that LA could be the name of LA when it comes to boxing. But I don't know which fighters out there that's from LA also that could be that type of fight. I think Leo versus Abner was just so big because they're both from LA, and people were excited about that fight because they knew it was going to be, the first fight was so close, and this fight would be as close or even better. So who's out there at 135 or that Mikey could fight that could generate that? I think Mikey could be the next fighter to take over LA, but we need that one name so he could match up against to be able to say that's for LA.
It's interesting you bring that up because his moniker is the best is yet to come, which is always looking forward. And I think you're correct. We do need that kind of one moniker fight, that one big fight. Which fight is that in your mind, and how do you get there?
Unless we're already considering Lomachenko one of Southern California fighters. He lives in Oxnard. He stays in Oxnard year round. So he became a Southern Californian already. So maybe that's the fight that'll do it. With Leo and Abner, even though Abner was born in Mexico, Abner grew up in LA. Everybody knows him from LA. So is Leo. So that was more of a LA fight. If people want to recognize Lomachenko as a Southern Californian already, then maybe that'll be the fight to happen.
And as much as he has success in the ring and is so meticulous and willing to come up with a game plan and execute it, the same is true for his business acumen. Outside the ring, he's the guy to get. He was a free agent, and everybody was talking about, I want Mikey, Mayweather, everyone. And now Eddie Hearn has definitely made a public statement, like as though Mikey was going to be a major piece of his next move. Is that something that is imminent? Is that a deal that you feel like is going to get made?
Look, I think Mikey's very smart, and when it comes to making those deals, Mikey's going to make the right deal for him. And Mikey showed me what Eddie Hearn offered, and believe me, it was great. But it's not anything that excites Mikey. Mikey's already doing that by himself. So it's got to be a lot more, and if Mikey ends up doing something with Eddie Hearn or whoever it is, it's because it's well worth it for Mikey, and it's something that he's not already making. Mikey's doing really good right now, and very successful doing it by himself. They're putting this card together, this fight together here in LA, and it's a big fight. They bring in a promoter to promote it, but it's all pretty much Mikey doing it himself.
And lastly, Robert, before Linares fought Lomachenko, he said, I've been preparing for this fight really for a year. My last two fights were in preparation for this, and it seems like those two are on a collision course, especially if they're both LA fighters now. Lomachenko and Garcia. As forward thinking as Mikey has been in his career and business, is he already preparing in a way for Lomachenko, and if so, how?
Look, I don't think Mikey's thinking like that right now. I think Mikey's focused on his career without Lomachenko being involved. I'm the one saying it because that's the fight I would like, and that's the fight I think should happen. But Mikey's probably looking at other directions. He knows it's not going to be easy to work it out with Bob Arum. He knows it'll be very difficult, so he'd rather not even look into it. I'm the one saying it because that's the fight that the fans would like to see. Me as a boxing fan, I would love to see it too. So I mentioned it because me personally would love to see it. But business-wise and Mikey thinking of his future, he doesn't see that anytime soon. That's probably why he's even talking about moving up to welterweight because those are more fights that are easier to make.
Talking about moving up to welterweight, is this to where he campaigns? Like, how much flexibility do you have as a trainer with him moving up and down in weights and trying to catch huge fights? Is this something, of course, you guys are going to continue on?
Look, we've seen it in the gym with fighters. He moved up to 140, dominated pretty well. He spars welterweights that are solid and strong and dominates. But I think there's a time for everything, and if we convince Mikey to take his time and become a superstar at 135 and eventually move up slowly when the time is right, I think that's probably the best way to do it. But like I'm telling you, I think Mikey's a little bit ahead of us, and if he does make those decisions, we're going to be there to support him because I know he could compete. But to me, why leave all those big fights at 135 and just jump to welterweight when you could do those big fights and then go to welterweight, even a bigger star than you are already? You know, you mentioned Linares, Lomachenko right now. I think Mikey was already talking to Linares about fighting each other. Linares chose to fight Lomachenko instead. Me personally, I think he made the decision because thinking if I go with Mikey, Mikey's probably going to be a harder fight because he's a stronger man. I fight Lomachenko. It was a pretty close fight. It was an exciting fight. So maybe Linares thinking I could do both. Why jump into fighting Mikey and lose the Lomachenko fight, the Lomachenko payday, when I could probably do both? If I do good against Lomachenko, maybe I could still fight Mikey. So same thing with Mikey. Why jump into a big fight with a top welterweight when there's a couple more at lightweight that you could do to even make you a bigger star, and then you go to welterweight to fight those top guys out there?
Well, the true talent and the true moniker of a superstar is that we had so much to talk about. We didn't quite get to Robert Easter, who is the fight that's coming up for you in just a few weeks. We will talk about that on Fight Week, man. But we can't wait to see you guys in the ring again. Thank you, Robert Garcia. Always a pleasure. Radio Raheem with Robert Garcia.